You're alone. It's just you. It's a computer. You got GPT in front of you. You've got Simplified in front of you. You've got Midjourney in front of you. How do you become a one-person unicorn? Well, like, what's the plan? Like, let's say there's a kid watching this, and he's just like, "Hey, these are two people in AI who've been around for a while, talking about, generally where the future is headed, and they've been hearing stories of this one-person unicorn thing. How do they do it?" Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of my podcast. And today, I have somebody on the podcast that is a complete opposite of me. Somebody who's been working in AI, but still the complete opposite of me. His name's Ajay. He's been around the block. He runs a company called Simplified that has raised money from Khosla Ventures, from Bain, from all the others. And the reason I brought him on is because many of you know I'm a pessimist about AI. Not that AI is bad. I think AI will be too good. It will take jobs. It will create disruption, etc., etc. Ajay is the opposite of me. He knows the value of the tech, but still believes that there is positives to come out of it, right? So, and the reason I got him on was because what happens in politics is that you have the right and you have the left. And the right will never air the left's views. The left will never air the right's views. This video, I'm trying to do something that those people will never do or nobody ever does. Get the opposite side in the room and ask them, how's it going? And what do you think about the future? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ajay. Ajay, what we'd like to do is to start off, just tell us your story. Like, why did you get into AI? And why did you get into it so early?
Well, thank you for having me, man. I think, I was in real estate tech for a very long time, almost a decade actually. And moving to this side for me also feels like, damn, like what am I doing here actually? We first started with actually content creation. We thought that the post-pandemic world, that was the first start, I think, of all of this stuff actually. Everyone was creating content. I think that was the spark that we had, that if you create content, anyone should be able to do it without using multiple apps, multiple tools to build Simplified.
Yeah.
OpenAI just happened. I think we got lucky with it. And we were one of the first early companies in that sort of the cohort of those who got API access. It was like a kid getting a new toy and you just play with it without realizing what the potential is actually. And we had no idea that this AI would blow up. We thought it's just, people have been saying that AI has been coming, right?
Yeah.
AI has been coming to replace humans.
The prophets have been around forever.
People have been scared of AI. People have been scared of AI, that AI would replace humans.
Yeah.
AI is here to replace all of it. And now here we have this first sample API of AI that actually can be used for, I would say, like more day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And we got our hands on it and we wanted to experiment what this would do at a very basic level.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun to not only write and create basic things that you would spend so much time on, but eventually build workflows and help grow your business and help yourself as individuals and be more productive, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, not only experimenting, but actually building a business around AI.
Nice. So tell me something, okay? Let's say I'm going to take you back 5 years ago, okay? And you're just sitting around and you're seeing sparks of this tech. What do you think about the tech 5 years ago? It wasn't ready. We all know it wasn't ready. But what do you think about it?
I think one of the things that I and me and my team thinks about it, AI kind of has been around in some sort of ways. It's like, have you actually noticed when you go to Google and you type in your email and they suggest you something? Autocomplete?
Yeah.
That is also AI.
Yeah.
But it's AI.
It's next word prediction.
Yes.
In a way.
But AI has been, in the email, it's actually been built around AI. And AI has been around where you don't even expect it to sound like an AI. Mm-hmm. You don't have to sell or train or inform that there's AI while you're doing it. It's had been a very subtle AI present in our lives.
So we took it for granted.
Or it wasn't ready to be revealed to everyone. It was like the basic experiments running here and there. So 5 years ago, I think we were just doing a lot of automation and auto search and completes and predictions and all sort of data stuff and hardware stuff, but not really came out that you wouldn't imagine 5 years ago that, hey, I would be doing day-to-day tasks using AI that actually is going to help me. But think of a word called, sort of AGI, like the Jarvis from the Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a movie, right? But you didn't think of that can actually possibly happen one day.
Yeah. And tell me what the magic moment for you was. Was it DALL-E? Was it GPT-2? Was it GPT-3? When did you look at this and go like, holy shit? Like what point?
I mean, mine was that actually, I mean, if I was just writing any random thing, I sort of look at it in a way where I was supposed to send an email to someone, hey, I would do blah, blah, blah. I would be there by blah, blah, blah. Meet this friend with blah, blah, blah. Hopefully you two connect and have some business opportunities. I can type anything garbage I want to and ask the AI to rewrite it.
Yeah.
It would do in a way where you felt like, wow.
So this was GPT-2 or GPT-3?
GPT-2 early on, actually. GPT-2, actually. You know, we were doing this sort of stuff. And it was like the email for me was the first set of like the spark.
Got it.
Wow. You know, I do this every day. Everyone, you look at AI, writes emails every single day. And those emails are sales opportunities, introductions, and friend connections, and falling back, and blah, 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 and all these sort of things, right? But there's nothing like that can write an email that sounds like you.
Yeah.
And it was better than you. And I think the biggest aha moment in AI, it takes the emotion out of it. I don't think people think about that a lot. Imagine you are writing something. It can be a blog, email, ad, copy, whatever that is. And you had a shitty day. You have all those emotions that are going through your system. And then you're supposed to do a task. Your task is very biased because of how you feel.
Yeah.
AI is only supposed to do the best.
So it's going to write the most pleasant email.
More pleasant emails. It doesn't matter how you feel, but when you put it on, sort of like type it and ask the AI to do it, it would always come out like, oh my God, damn, this is actually amazing. This is how I should be writing it.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie or the TV series, The Mask?
Yes.
You know, the green mask.
Yep.
Whenever I look at AI, I think of that. It's like underneath he's just like a regular, lonely, sad man, but he puts on the mask and he's like funny, he's cool, he's smoking hot.
Yep.
I feel like AI is like that. But tell me about something, okay? Does this make humans less useful? The ability of an AI to write emails by itself, to write copy by itself, to do all those cool things?
You know, you have seen those, you know, when you maybe catch up with a friend and you've seen a lot of Instagram stories and you say, oh my God, man, your life is like amazing. But then say, hey, it's just a story online. That's not reality.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying the mass thing is. When everyone sounds so good, everyone sounds so compelling, everyone sounds emotionally so like well put together.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a reality. That's what AI is doing because that was supposed to do or trained to do, be human-like.
Yeah, nowadays when I see a DM and it's more than like 5 lines, I'm like, this isn't my GPT. I'm like, just one line summary, please, right? Okay, so could I just say that you're of the belief that AI is not really going to disrupt jobs? Because we spoke about this offline, we spoke about it before this podcast. I told you, hey, I'm a hardcore believer that AI is going to take away jobs. We need to do something about it, right? And hopefully, you know, somebody does something about it. You believe the opposite, right? I want to know why.
I mean, I think that I kind of go back to it, the whole industrial revolution kind of thing, right? When the first machines and factories and blah, 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 right? It did replace a lot of the agriculture jobs and all the other stuff that happened actually, right?
Yeah.
People moved to, they thought that, hey, was like done by hand, so the hard work, and now machines came in and just, you know, disrupted what you did with your hands actually, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing, but I think that AI would allow more jobs to happen because the gap between people who think they can express themselves in a way that I can, especially when it comes to English and other languages. And even though I'm as smart as you are, but if you know the language better than I do, then I think you would convince the other person that, hey, I should be getting the job or I should be getting the job done actually, right?
Yeah.
In this case, we're both on the same exact scale. We're both smart. I can use AI to do the same exact thing that you would do. Now, I think there's more opportunities for me that never existed before. So I do think that early days, it would feel like a doomsday. It would feel like that AI is taking jobs. And I think it will, at some point, some level, is a process of replacing that segment that people did. It's like, if humans are working on creating AI, don't you think that humans should be also focusing their energy, if they got that time back, on more productive
So you're saying humans get your time back?
Time back. How can you save humanity, solve the health challenges, the poverty and the food and
So you're saying you can create so much abundance that jobs in itself, look, jobs take away 8 hours of your time.
Exactly.
Right? So you're saying that it's not such a bad thing if jobs really get replaced and hey, more people get opportunities to do cool stuff.
It's like you would do things faster. I think more people will make more money. More people will start more businesses because of AI, and also get the time back. That time can be used to do, I think, more meaningful things.
And do you think that this possibility, I keep hearing it on Twitter these days, of a one-person unicorn, do you think something like that is possible with AI? Like, how would you do it? Okay, you're alone, it's just you, it's a computer, you got GPT in front of you, you've got Simplified in front of you, you've got Midjourney in front of you. How do you become a one-person unicorn? Well, like, what's the plan? Like, let's say there's a kid watching this, and he's just like, hey, these are two people in AI who've been around for a while, talking about, generally where the future is headed.
Yeah.
And they've been hearing stories of this one-person unicorn thing. How do they do it?
I don't think we're there yet, but it's a reality for sure. Because when you put like automation on AI, I think that it can do all of it. I think I saw an example where, okay, you have sales emails.
Yeah.
So you have this data of like companies that hey, executives of XYZ company. Usually what you would do, have you seen those like LinkedIn messages that forgot to change your name?
Yeah.
Hey, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you would say back, hey, at least make sure you change the name if you're gonna send an automated email, right?
Yeah.
In this case, I think if they actually scrape all the data and ask AI for each and every individual to write this unique message that just belongs to you and very convincing.
So it's like, you remember Zoom Info?
Yes, Zoom Info.
They used to have like this tab on the right saying person intelligence, and they'd be like, he did this. They just scrape his LinkedIn.
Scrape his LinkedIn, right. But now you can use that and craft this message that feels like, damn.
Hey, you went to NYU. Well, I went to NYU too. Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend that told me something really unique. If you scrape the data about your best food, where you actually the whole check-in data and whatnot, and say, hey, today it's raining, and I hope you enjoy, let's say, whatever XYZ, hot coffee and something for you.
Ramen.
Really unique, on that day, in that city, all about you. And imagine if I end up sending that gift to you. You might like, wow, this is actually what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And it's right here. So I think that can happen with just AI, just one person, making it all smart.
That's really interesting. Do you feel with all this capability, AI is just, like, this is the question that gets asked a lot in the GPT world, right? Do you feel like this is like this next word prediction is just word salad? It's just coming up with the next word because it has so much data about it? Or do you feel there's emergent behavior like popping up? Do you feel like eventually it's going to show signs of consciousness? What do you think? And we're probably all wrong about this.
I still go back to those movies where the AI has taken over the humanity, right? I mean, that's
Terminator.
Terminator, right? Yeah. I mean, there's so many of them, right? It's like Doomsday. I think a lot of movies, I don't know why they're Doomsday all the time, the zombies and whatnot, right?
Yeah. They sell.
They sell. Doomsday actually sell, right? I don't want to believe that. I think AI would get to a place where it is like it is human almost.
Yeah.
It's like human-like. Being human are two different things.
Yeah.
I think AI is mimicking to, because the thing is, when you sell something to a human connects with other human beings.
Yeah.
That's why the mimicking human makes sense, because those human connections are missing from if AI wasn't trained like that.
Got it.
So you want AI to train in a way where you can connect with other human beings using the technology. That's why they're training to be human-like.
Got it. So you're saying they're human-like, but they're not actually
They're
conscious.
not actually human, yeah. They're not actually would be like a human brain that's running on its own.
Yeah.
And I might be completely wrong about this thing. The future is moving too fast, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to believe in that world yet.
No, I follow I don't know if you know, this is a website called Less Wrong.
No.
It's called Less Wrong. It's by Elysia. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the website just has hypothetical scenarios. And one of the scenarios is you build a really strong next word predictor and it predicts intelligence. Like it becomes intelligent.
Yeah.
Ilya Sutskever, one of the guys at OpenAI, also said this, right? He's like, think about it deeply. What is next word prediction? If I could predict the next word you're about to say, then that means I understand you. I understand enough about you to predict the next word you're about to say, right? So he's like, the minute you have understanding going on, some semblance of understanding going on, that's when you start getting this territory of, is it conscious? Is there emergent behavior? Is there not emergent behavior? Is it just like a word generator? So you're right. Nobody knows. I think it's going to take us 2 years before anybody knows.
But what if you predict everything, then what's there to left?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're having this conversation and you can predict what I'm going to say, then there's nothing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Humans would lose the connection of like the relationship.
Do you feel there are going to be camps in the world in the next 10 years where they just sit away and they're just like,
Do
no more
nothing.
AI. Yeah, no more AI. No AI is allowed inside. No phones, no computers. I think it's going to happen.
I mean, what ChatGPT was just blocked by
Italy.
Yeah, right. So Italy's blocking it. I think there's a lot of issues around privacy and the data and training and models and whatnot. So I think this is like the first set of like when you start building something, you see those sort of this, hey, we should improve on X, Y, Z, and set some rules around it. I think that if you look at the AI behavior, people are going to do good and bad. It's always going to be good actors versus bad actors.
Yeah.
As long as you do more good than the bad, that it would succeed and supersede what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that there would be things placed in a way that do foster this still the human connection we have, or else what's the point in having anything?
Yeah. So tell me about Simplified. I know you've been doing Simplified for a while now. You were one of the early people on the AI race. Tell me about the Simplified story.
I mean, so its story came out of Clubhouse that we've all forgotten, I guess.
Yeah.
Something good
One thing that Clubhouse did right.
It did. So it was me connecting with my co-founder actually on one of these. I used to host a lot of groups on Clubhouse actually when it was kind of becoming big. And we reconnected and we wanted to build something in the space where content creation was a thing. That, hey, you know what, people use multiple apps to create a piece of content as like small businesses or mid-market companies. How can you make it happen on one platform? You can design graphics, you can make videos, you can write copy, and then you can manage social media, all within one app. And we just ended up building it out. AI happened at the right time. We connected at the right time. It's my first time having a co-founder, so that's been amazing. And
You didn't have a co-founder in the last one?
No, not the last company, no, we did
Why?
not.
Why?
Moved to the US from India, you know, so did not speak the language. Didn't know anyone, went to college, no connections, no network, no money. Just real raw struggle. And so I don't think I had time to, you know, I think I look back in time and think about either you have time to go and find someone
Yeah.
or you have time to go and build something.
Yeah. You don't have time to do both.
To both. When life doesn't give you a lot of choices, I would of course go and build something and let's see whatever happens. Leap of faith and no co-founder at all.
Yeah. And this one with Simplified, you guys have a custom model in the backend?
We do, yeah. We use a bunch of APIs. We do a lot of custom models actually.
And what do you think about privacy on those custom models? Like, I've been thinking about this for a while, right? Let's say I made an image generator. I'd have to scrape the internet. And if I'm small, nobody cares. But if I'm like you and I've raised $15 million and yada yada, and I've raised from big name VCs, do you ever worry like mid-journey that somebody would come and say, hey, you've taken so much content from the internet that's not yours? And I see this a lot with artists, right? Where they're like, hey, you know, you can't use my work without. And the argument against it is, well, it's not really copying your work, it's learning from your work. Right? It's if you start banning this, then you ban the ability of a kid to look at your work and be like, hey, I'm going to draw it because I committed this to memory.
I mean, I think it's too early, man. I mean, I think there's things like where you say like, write like this person, right? If you say draw like this, write like this, I want my video to be as funny as this. So almost you're using the name. So AI is saying, hey, is it your work or is it inspired by your work? I think in both cases, we have to figure out how does it work because that's your work.
Yeah.
That thing wouldn't exist if your name wasn't there. So I think it's a gray area. It's super early. I have no answer for that. I think we have to kind of get through it, see how it
Get
plays
sued
out.
a few times and then, you know.
Someone else, not us. Someone else, not us.
No, Midjourney and Stable Diffusion are both.
Of course, I mean, all of them have it. I mean, I think it's super early in terms of like what AI can do and how it's supposed to be controlled or put things around it, the rails or guards or systems or rules, whatever that is. I think they're going to develop. I'm super optimistic that this should all work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Got it. But if you had to pick, would you pick on the side of the artist and say it's okay to learn from other people's content, or would you say, hey, if an artist opts out, it shouldn't be part of the data set?
I think it should be part of it because that's truly a human creation. And unless you give the credit in some sort of way, I think you shouldn't. Because then there's no such thing as if you're funny and witty and this and that and whatnot, then you're kind of mimicking that behavior, right?
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of acting any of it? I mean, you can say, hey, write a funny post about blah, 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 instead of saying, write a funny post like Varun
Yeah.
then that is your creation. That shouldn't just be like thrown away like that. Otherwise, there's no meaning to it actually.
Got it. And tell me something, right? If you're comfortable discussing these numbers, but Simplified raised 15 million. Yes?
So raised 11 million so far.
Okay, got it. I don't know why I kept seeing 15
I
million.
know 15 is just, I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah. You've raised 11 million. What's the vision? Like, I know the vision today. The vision today is to build like a great image, video, text platform.
Yeah.
What's the vision like 5 years later? Where do you see yourself? Do you eventually see yourself making like hardware robots running around, or is it like like what's the vision?
Yes, so also, I mean, imagine that you have this sort of marketing. Okay, imagine you have this marketing team, right?
Yeah.
And Simplified is just one of the members.
Got it.
It's the
So you're creating Rahul from marketing.
It's a marketing team member that you have as Simplified. And I asked the Simplified that, hey, you know what if you can create, I want 30 pieces of content for Instagram, my brand content, and it just gives it for you. You can take it as it is, or you can tweak it if you want.
Or you can send it to another team member and be like, hey, here's the...
Whatever, but that's what it's supposed to do. It's sort of like the assisting you in that campaign.
Got it.
Does the job for you.
So your goal is to be CMO, like eventually, because it's going to start out as an intern and then it's going to get really powerful and then it's going to be CMO.
No,
that's a good vision.
No comments on that, but
Yeah.
it's just a team member. It's just a team member that's there to assist you in marketing campaigns, no matter what that is. I mean, if you want to make a video about something that you have knowledge about and you tell the AI to do it, it might just create the whole thing for you, and then you can tweak it to what you like and publish it online.
Yeah. I was showing Ajay, for the people watching, I was showing an email from Sam Altman. I actually emailed Sam Altman in 2015 when he was part of YC. And I was running a company, I was straight out of college, and I was asking him for advice on the company. And Sam replied in one line. It's a nice line, right? Do what you think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys a little later. And then you were showing me a message from somebody in your investor network who wanted to get you in front of OpenAI.
Yeah.
Right? And you were telling me about Sam. So what do you think about OpenAI, the company? Right? And don't tell me what you've heard from the internet. Because I know you're in the circle. Tell me what you've heard from the circle. Including Sam, this, that, whatever.
I mean, I was at an event recently where, of course, I'm with the OpenAI team, won't name the people. And it is all AI companies and, of course, people from OpenAI. What they're building is incredible. Because I think what they're trying to solve for is this sort of this assistant. Imagine that the real life sort of Jarvis style that actually can help humans on a day-to-day basis. Like basic to the basic stuff, right? And I think their vision is large, big. The team behind it is incredible. You know, I think what OpenAI has done, and I know that there's a Google that's going to come and OpenAI is going to kill Google. Google is going to come and take over OpenAI, or Microsoft is coming. Is this a lot of this sort of trio is happening here, right? But I think that OpenAI is pushing the boundaries. I think on both sides. They're pushing Microsoft on one side, and they're pushing, I think, Google on one side. Say, hey, you know what? I know you guys might be the biggest one and you're doing blah, blah, blah. I'm here to kind of pave the way what AI should do for humans. And you can either come along and do it, and you can even do better. I don't think that OpenAI is seen as a company that take it all. I think I see them more like inspiring everyone else around them.
Got it.
To build their own models if they want to, build their own companies if they want to. But hey, we're the first one to do it because no one else did it.
Got it.
And even if you did it, like they're saying that, hey, Google has been sitting on AI for a long time, and Microsoft has its own large models, blah, 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 right? But you didn't show because they are afraid of that Google and Microsoft have to worry about a lot of the
backlash,
the red tape and the backlash, because they think about privacy a lot, they think about like what it can do and the dangers of it. So
you feel like Google is bummed out that they missed out on the wave because of the PR backlash?
I don't think Google is, man. Google is Google. I don't think that I actually, even though big fan of OpenAI, I think that Google has a real power with the data, real power of understanding how we interact. We all have been interacting with Google product for decades.
Yeah.
From emails to search
and
to videos.
They have all of that.
They have all of that.
Proprietary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
OpenAI, been training models, of course, great, large language models, right? Whatever that is. I don't think that Google is going anywhere. I do think that Google should be moving faster, and they're saying that, hey, fire the entire team, blah, 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 all the negative stuff. I think Google's gonna show us the real stuff soon.
And tell me about Sam. You were talking about Sam the other day. I know you're about to get an intro to him and pitch to him and stuff. But tell me about what you've heard about him.
No comments on that. But what I would say with Sam, listen, I actually listened to Sam podcast that he did recently.
With Lex.
I think there's one more actually he did I think 2 months ago something actually. And he really goes into it because people really asking this question that you're really going into good and bad of AI.
Yeah.
Imagine I think today you get spammed and spoofed by basic, India, there's a big scam around OTPs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hey, I have this delivery guy shows up and give me your OTP and then you give the OTP, your bank balance is gone, right?
Yeah.
Now you have AI that has the potential to be like you. If you end up getting access to something, AI is you, and I don't even know how you can differentiate between you and the AI, right?
Yeah.
So
even fingerprints, I'm sure,
I'm sure all of it, right? So I think the question with Sam is incredible, and I think his big view is that as long as we do good more than the bad, as long as we stay and keep this technology protected and keep building for the good use of humanity, I think AI should exist.
And that's why he did WorldCoin, for identity.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of negatives to, of course, all of this stuff. But I do think that Sam did what no one did. Sam ended up building a company when no one did. He's been at it for a very long time. We're just seeing the glimpse of AI now, but they've been building it for a very, very long time, right? And when everyone told Sam that this is impossible. So I think you got to give Sam, I love Sam for that. I give him the credit to that. He went after something that was completely impossible almost, it sounded like. Now we have AI writing our emails, of course, the basic stuff, and drawing pictures for us. And now I'm making videos soon, and hopefully God knows what he's going to do, actually. But it's all about Sam. Sam led the team and did it nicely.
Got it. I think that, one thing I've learned from this conversation is I'm definitely a pessimist. I'm definitely a doomer. I definitely think that AI is going to take a bunch of jobs, and it's going to be horrific because humans don't react well when jobs are taken. But it's nice to talk to somebody who thinks that the world is going to be better. So paint a picture for me of the world in 5 years. You've already painted a vision of Simplified in 5 years. It's going to be a CMO, right? Or an intern in your marketing team, right? I know you got to be careful about saying things like, I want to be a CMO. But paint a picture of the world in 5 years. Is it going to be chaotic? Where do you think a young kid of 20 should bet?
I mean, imagine if AI, let's imagine a world in 5 years. What if AI can actually help you get, let's say the basic income? What if everyone who uses AI was able to sell their skills and experiences and whatever and made, let's say, basic money? I say enough money to sustain themselves. Now, what would you do with all the time that you have back with you? You can see the world more. You can be, I think, happier, not burned out, I guess, right?
Yeah, like me, I'm burned out all the time now.
Spend time with your family, do less of this.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the thing is 5 years now, can AI give you the time back?
Yeah.
So you can invest in places that makes you happier while paying your bills.
Yeah.
It's fairly basic to, I think, it can do what it can do for you.
Interesting. Okay. So is there anything else you want to tell the audience? Is there anything you would like to tell them about Simplified? And by the way, you need to tell them about the content thing that you're doing. By the way, for people that follow me, I create a lot of doomer content. You know it. I'm pessimistic. I've said this for the third time, and you can unfollow me if you think I'm super pessimistic. He's been creating optimistic content. And I think you need countermeasures. I'm a big believer in countermeasures. Your Insta feed can't be filled just with negativity. It's not like I'm always negative, but there is a little bit of negativity. I get it. You should, the wrong solution to this is to unfollow me. The right solution is to follow me and also follow people who counterbalance the narratives. Where do they find you? What's your advice to them, and where do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, mostly Instagram. I think I'm creating content about how AI can help you actually, because I think the big thing with AI is that don't be afraid of it, because there's a lot of people, a lot of you actually sitting on the sideline. I think, do you remember when the Uber came along?
Yeah.
I just give a very basic example, and he said every taxi driver said, don't join Uber.
Yeah.
Let's protect it's almost like a herd.
Yeah.
Let's protect
It's like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, hey, it's a group of people. Let's all protect ourselves and let Uber would never become big. Today, the herd became smaller and Uber replaced almost everything. There's of course arguments to good and bad about Uber, right? But a lot of people who have never been able to even afford that herd end up getting jobs with Uber, right? I think AI, don't stay on the sideline. Don't actually say, hey, I don't believe in AI. Of course, there's a lot of negatives to it that, hey, I don't want to use AI, blah, 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 and it's going to replace me, replace jobs. All this negative bias around AIs, I would say be the first one to jump in and use it yourself and see if it can help you do more or even make more money.
Yeah. That I believe in.
Be a part of that and don't sit on the sideline.
So if you can't beat them, join them.
Yes, exactly. I would say join them now, even if you get beat up. Join now for the AI revolution before you get beat up.
Yeah.
Or get beat up after. But let's at least join and see what the fun is all about. So do that. And yeah, you can just follow me on Instagram with Yadav Ajay.
So, I was reading through your story and I saw that you've been in the States for a very long time, right? I imagine it would have been really tough for an Indian to go to the States, and especially you were telling me about your last business, right? Where you were solo co-founder. You didn't know anybody. And I know a lot of young kids who want to go to the States and build something cool and then don't realize that they're going there with no network. So what's the immigrant feeling like? What's that immigrant story like? And how do you build that network?
So when I first went to the US, dude, that was my first flight. Like I'm saying, like the
Ever?
plane. What is a plane? That was a plane. First time ever. And I go on the flight, actually, funny enough, I go on the flight. So you don't know, like when you walking the aisle, see how like, where's the seat belt? So I'm like sitting by myself, going to America.
Yeah.
First flight ever. And I'm watching everyone else. Okay, I got my seat, fine. I got my bags in, fine. Oh, that's how you wear the seat belt. The flap thing, and they say do this and do that. It makes a lot of sense why they do that, right? Get in there, and I just watched everyone do everything. How to get up, how to put your seat down. I mean, literally, this is like, almost 18 years ago. And I was doing that. And when I first landed, I couldn't really speak in English. I mean, of course, I can understand and write it, but speaking was really difficult. And that thick accent wasn't helping. It took me a very long time. So what I would do, in my college, when I was in Pennsylvania, I would go to the sandwich shop. So it took me a while to learn how to order. So I ended up ordering the same thing, I think, for, God knows, months. It was like chicken tender melt, this sandwich I used to order. And the guy would like just see me and walking and just say, hey,
is it regular?
This is a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
And no one knew why I would order that because that was just the most comfortable thing I could say on the menu. And then I would go online and I would like pronounce stuff. If I had to go to like Subway sandwich, I would pronounce everything, how to say it, and then repeat.
What did you speak at home?
Hindi. It was all Hindi.
So you could barely speak English when you went there?
I mean, I could. It's just, I knew, of course, but the accent was just so thick that it just took people a long time to understand.
So your pronunciations were off?
Was completely off. I mean, it's just very.
And how did that
thick
feel
accent.
like? Did it feel alien? Did you feel alienated?
Absolutely. Because you can't, people will say, hey, I'm sorry, come again. I'm so sorry. What did you say again? So it's like, imagine you get frustrated, then you don't want to say it, and then you feel like, you've been pushed down somewhere in a box, right? I think that was it. But I mean, it was a very difficult experience. And then I actually remember being in the US, I think my first 3 to 5 years, I barely had any friends actually. I was just in my own zone building companies, and I was building a lot of stuff, not because I really wanted to, but because that gave me an outlet, like an avenue to
Some dopamine.
Some dopamine, can make friends, not dating anybody, can go out, can talk to people, just really shy, and had a hard time like getting out of my shell. And that's when I started building stuff, and that gave me slowly the confidence to like slowly come out and learn more and talk more, and yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So what's your advice for somebody who's an immigrant going to the US? Just make friends?
Not make friends. I would say, there's this sort of definitely make friends, but I think
how would they do that? Give me a tactical guide to making friends if I were to go to the US.
I was at a rooftop event, my first ever rooftop event for a startup actually. Like, pitch events, those pitch nights, cocktail nights, whatever you call them, right? Like rooftop pitch nights. And I remember someone said to me, just go. And I went there and I was standing in the corner and then someone came up to me and said, hey, how's it going? I'm like, wow, damn. I literally thought that wasn't so hard at all, actually. So I took the same advice. And next time I went to an event, someone was by themselves, I said, hey, how's it going? So I think it kind of like you learn the hard way.
Your mirror neurons were kicking in. Like, I'm gonna learn.
It's not that difficult. If someone else can do it, you can do it as well. Like that's what I learned is that I know it's difficult, but if you just tell yourself, hey, if I'm afraid of something, if you promise yourself, whatever that you're afraid of, if you can try to do it, that's what I used to do. Just get out there, say hi to people. It's not that difficult. They won't bite you. It's just a simple hi. And that hi or hi hello might just help you come out of your shell.
Got it.
Yeah. Painful but good.
Very interesting. So thank you so much for this. I had a lovely time talking to you. I think that I learned so much from you because you're an optimist. Like what I've noticed is like through this conversation, you're an optimist. You really care about this. I think I'm just the guy who's waving a white flag and saying, please don't come.
You need that too. I mean,
yeah. Or it's not really please don't come. It's like, please can we do something about this, right? But it's really nice to hear from an optimist. It makes me a little bit less anxious. In a week, I'm probably going to get more anxious again.
And you go back to it again.
But thank you so much for doing this. And yeah, that's Ajay. Make sure you follow him.
Thank you.